Thank you very much for joining me today, Georgia Flood. I think your name is a really strong actor name. If you see it on a marquee, like that is, that person means business. So congratulations on having a great name.
Great. I'll tell my parents. Thank you. Yes.
Why did you choose Sit, Stay, Love? Did director Tori have you in mind, or did you have to audition?
I actually got a call. I was in Sydney living with my godparents because I escaped from the Melbourne lockdown right before it happened last year. Had
Wow, good
this
one.
gut feeling that it was going to happen. So got on a plane and Catherine Poulton, my agent, rang me and she said there is this dog Christmas movie filming in Queensland. Are you interested? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I want to work. It's a pandemic. Like, I need to work. I'd love to work. So she actually called me up a month later and said, you've got the role. And I didn't have to audition or anything. And I think that's because Tori Garrett, I've worked with before on Wentworth, and my name was in the ring. And so she chose me, apparently, or, said that she'd like to work with me, I think. And so they were like, would you like to do it? And I was like, let's just do it. And I didn't read the script or anything. I was like, I want to, yeah, of course, I'd love to do a film in Queensland about dogs. But no, they sent me the script. I quickly read the script within an hour, and then I rang them back and I was like, yep, let's do it.
Well, you make a good Christmas movie and they never get old.
They
It's going to be around every year, this film, I think.
don't. It's very sweet. I think like a
Yeah.
lot of younger demographic also will appreciate it too. Like it's something that everyone can watch, which is kind of rare these days, really, when there's just the Game of Thrones and the Bridgertons out, which is
Yeah.
not necessarily for the young ones.
This is definitely rated G. So yeah, all
Yeah.
demographics are catered for.
Yeah.
What does Christmas mean to you? Like it's a big time for most people. Is it a family thing for you? What are your earliest memories of Christmas?
I love Christmas. I love every holiday celebration. I really think I find some kind of belonging in tradition. And I think tradition's really important, the good ones. um, and usually we have a big Christmas with my extended family, and there's always a long lunch, and there's a turkey and a ham, and there's the bonbons, and we do all the normal things.
Yeah.
Sometimes we go to Sydney to be with my godparents, which is always super fun because it's kind of like an orphan Christmas too. There's people from all different families.
Oh, nice.
And this year we'll be spending it with my grandma. My sister's been in Paris for the past 4 years, so we can't be with her. But yeah, it's definitely a family orientated day, and I can't wait to have my own family and like start my own traditions and bring the traditions on from my parents. Yeah, sorry, that was a long-winded answer. Just love
No,
Christmas.
it proves Christmas means a lot to you. So taking this character wasn't just another job. It was a good thing for you to be in. A great project.
Yeah, actually, the character Annie in this movie,
Annie Blake.
Annie Blake, I kind of dedicated to my god sister, who I've never had Christmas with, but would love to eventually, because she's also one of my best friends. She is very similar to Annie, sort of personality wise, but more in terms of how she is in love with wanting to dedicate her life to saving the world, and she's gone to the UN University of Peace, and we actually changed a couple of lines to make it more real and authentic to someone who has is a social worker like my god sister. So at the end when we say that, oh, this would be a spoiler, but
I
yeah.
prefer not spoilers,
Yeah,
but
okay.
that's okay. I like to hear that you are collaborating as well as you go with the characters. So did that happen throughout the whole film?
Yeah, I found that when we read the script, some things didn't land as for me personally, as well as they like could have in terms of just in the scene, altogether the scene.
Yeah.
I like to, I don't just come along to a job and be like, well, my character wouldn't say this. It's more like what works for the scene and the story overall. And some things in some scenes, I was like, oh, if we just pepper this with a bit more specificity,
Mm,
it'll actually land more than something that's more general,
mm.
for all the characters. And when we had rehearsals, all the characters came in and I read all the scenes with them, and we spoke about how we can make our characters more specific and authentic. And so it's not just a generic, you know,
Good.
film, which it wasn't, but
No.
just I think that's important. You get the script and then you kind of take it to the next level.
Now, Annie, speaking of her, she wears a elf jumper in the movie. What's your opinion on ugly Christmas jumpers? They're very popular at the moment.
Well, in that scene, it wasn't too hard because it was nighttime, but it was so hot filming in
Oh,
Queensland. So
yeah.
those Christmas jumpers, it was like, but I love it. I love a good Christmas jumper. I love a good ironic fashion. It's always up my alley. But yeah, I should get onto them. I should get one, especially the ones with the lights up. There's just hilarious.
Yeah, there's all sorts you can get now, and they hot. They're a hot item. So, and in because we're in Australia, we have a hot summer.
Yeah,
You're surprised that they sell so well, but people still wear
yeah,
them.
yeah. We should make little like Christmas bikinis or something.
Yeah. Speaking of being hot over, you filmed this in Queensland. Now, I don't want to ruin the illusion, but was there a lot of snow machines, or was the snow CGI later on? How did that go? What it looks so authentic.
Yeah, no, we just imported all this snow and it just didn't melt. No, we had a snow machine and it's actually a bunch of ripped up pieces of paper. Um, and they just came in like big blow machines and they just blow the whole area, but only for the frames. So like the camera tilted just a bit more up. There's no snow on the tops of the trees or outside of the frame, so it's pretty funny.
I'll have to watch it again just to see if I spot anything.
Yeah.
Okay, so was there craft services? Did you have Christmas food every day to choose from?
No, no,
No? I want
no.
to
We should have. I think there might have been a gingerbread house going around somewhere, but no, no.
okay, so since they love you, take on a really big challenge. You want to foster a whole lot of dogs and adopt them over a Christmas period. Now, for you, Georgia, if you're given a challenge, how determined are you? Do you like taking them on?
Yeah, yeah. I'm kind of like all or nothing. Like if I want something or if I want something for someone else, I'll just like make it happen no matter what.
That's good.
um, but yeah, if I don't, then I'll be very lazy.
Working with animals, I don't know if you've worked with animals before, but how was that? Does that change the way you act because you're watching those animals do their thing, or how did it work for you?
They're very distracting because they're so cute and you just want to hang out with them all day. But because they're being wrangled by the Katie, the person who provided the animals, you're not really allowed to touch them too much. I was because I needed to be familiar with them, but you she has them trained to conditioned to treats for tricks,
Sure.
so we can't play with them too much. But I loved having the animals on set. The only thing about it is you only have so many takes to film the scene, and sometimes if they don't do the right thing, we have to keep going. But I
Okay.
didn't. I loved having them there.
Well, that makes sense. So you sort of got to know them off screen as well because you needed them to sense you and be friends with you. So it looked natural enough on screen for your character.
Yeah. And like I had heaps of treats in my character's jacket pocket because in between scenes I'd have to like give them a treat and have
Yeah.
become familiar with them. Yeah, it's really fun.
You didn't accidentally, think it
Eat
was a
one.
cracker or a biscuit or something for yourself.
Well, funnily enough, I don't generally keep my food in my
That's
pockets.
good.
I wouldn't go for that.
That's a stupid question. I don't even know why I asked that.
But actually, it was funny when we finished the film. I went into my pockets and there was all of these like bacon smelling treats, and the costume department was like laughing. Yeah.
There's a few emotional scenes. What do you use for motivation to cry, or can you cry on demand as an actor?
Generally on demand, just because you're so practiced at it.
Mm.
And mainly like not just from working but from doing so many auditions, and I can tell you now, like every single audition I do requires me to be somewhat emotional.
Mm.
So it's like a muscle that you just keep flexing and practicing. And so I generally don't. I find if I think about anything specific or sad, it takes me out of it. Some
Sure.
people use substitution, but I can't do that. It's more physical for me. It's a physical thing, not a intellectual thing.
it looked like the ensemble really got on. Well, that's how it transcended on screen when you're watching the movie. Who out of your colleagues, your co-stars, really stood out as someone that you just love to be at work with every day? Anyone in particular?
Oh, and I can't pick anyone out. I think everyone was just amazing. It was an honor to work with Tori again. She's so open and specific and strong, and I loved working with her. Ezekiel is just a breath of fresh air. We got along so well, same sense of humor. Anna McGann I've worked with 3 times before, so it was just like, oh hey, fancy seeing you here. Basically my colleague on every job. Everyone was great. Yeah.
Has it been hard for you as an actor to do a whole lot of like self-tapes, or have you been lucky enough to get auditions in person and continue working during this, epidemic for the last 18 months or so?
The only audition I've had in person in the past 2 years has been with for the play I'm doing right now, As You Like It,
Ah,
because
yes, Princess Celia.
yeah,
That's correct.
you can do Zoom auditions for theatre, and they are doing them. But luckily enough, it was just that period where we had that hiatus of lockdown earlier this year. But most of the time it's self tapes, and that's normal. People are getting jobs left, right, and center from self tapes, and I I thought I preferred it, but I think I'm really now missing the experience of going in the room and knowing and having the knowledge of, oh, am I doing it like this? Am I doing it
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And the opportunity for them to say, okay, now do it like this, because you're just guessing what they want at the end of the day in the self tape. So, but yeah, it's fine. We're so lucky that we have the medium to be able to do that.
Yeah, that is very true. And to land a job doing Shakespeare must be pretty incredible. I mean, I love that play. It's a little lesser known Shakespeare play, but is it true that an actor, once you can accomplish Shakespeare, you can accomplish anything?
Yes.
I knew
That's
you'd say that.
1,000% true. I can do anything now.
I knew you'd say that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, it was kind of like learning another language, just
Mm,
getting your head around the old English or Shakespearean's language. But I don't know that I can do anything, but I do feel more confident as a performer for sure, because it feels like I'm backed in technique.
mm.
Whereas sometimes with film and theatre, there is technique, but it's a lot of your own emotional life and emotional understanding you bring to it, and the technique is like standing on your mark or not doing too much with your face in a close up and all those things.
Yeah.
But this is like this theatre thing is everything is basically technique, and how you speak and stuff. So I feel more confident as a performer. Yeah.
And making your marks, especially.
Yes, for
That's
lighting.
important on stage.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Any actors that you haven't worked with that you'd love to work with? Maybe one or two, Australian or international, someone you admire?
Yeah, there's a list, but I feel like I'd love to work with Clint Eastwood, but I think he said he's done his last film. I just think as a director, he's an amazing director. I would love to work with Will Ferrell, um, or Kate McKinnon. It's like I have these two passions, comedy and drama. So I
Yeah.
have my list of comedians that I'd love to work with, and I just feel like it would be a ball. And then I have a list of dramatic directors and actors that I'd like to work with, but I can't even. There's too much of a list, and it changes. It changes all the time.
Oh, it would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that was naturally answered because you just thought about it and they're the first names that came to you. And I like that because you picked some really good choices. And Clint's 91 now, and he said about a decade ago he was made his last movie, but
Yeah,
he's
I
still
know.
going. So you never know your luck.
He's so good. I mean, him, Scorsese too, like just
Yeah.
those guys that the visionaries. Oh, Baz Luhrmann. Yeah, when it's people always ask me what actor do you want to work with, and I start off that, and then I move into the directors because you. I don't know why, but I guess I'm more geared to work with someone who's going to bring their entire vision to
Mm.
um, sort of give change my perspective of how to do things.
Mm.
And then, whereas working with an actor, they will do that, but not to the extent of like how a director might change your perspective or help you. Because you speak to actors who've worked with many different types of amazing directors, and they say, well, in this job, I got to do this thing that I would never do, and I won't never do it again, but it brought this performance out of me, and we were able to connect on something higher than ourselves. And so, yeah, I guess, yeah. Anyway,
that's where collaboration comes back into it. And it's really good that directors let actors do that kind of thing while they're processing the role. It's great.
Hugh Jackman too. I think I've just heard so many incredible things about him, and his generosity and his spirit on set. I think that's also, when you think about it now, from being in the industry for I've been in the industry for like 16 years, you think about, yes, the creative opportunity to work with other creatives, but what their work ethic is. Do I want to be at work with this person for a year or for 6 months, and what kind of spirit do they bring, and ethic and morale? So someone like Hugh Jackman, I think I'd get along with really well. I think.
I think anyone would get along with Hugh. I know you're an accomplished singer as well. What's the biggest challenge or more difficult, singing or acting?
Singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm new. I'm not new to singing, but I'm new to singing in front of people. This is the first time I've sung in front of people in since high school or since auditions.
Yeah.
Because I've just been focusing on acting, and I've been behind the scenes making music here in my studio and trying to create an album, but I've never sung in front of people in a long time. I haven't sung in front of people in a long time. So that is really challenging because it's nerve-wracking, and I don't feel as confident in my skill set. So I'm still building that up.
Yeah. Well, you've got a studio, so I hope to see a new album out by next year.
Me too, yes. Hold me to it.
Yeah. If you weren't an actor or a performer, what occupation do you think you'd be doing?
Directing and writing, which I'm doing anyway.
So you'd stay in the business no matter what, if you could. Yeah.
If the question is if I'm not in the business, I think I would do something along the lines of service. So something to do with the environment. I'd go back to school and I'd study environmental science, or I was trying to apply for quantum physics earlier last year, and they're like, you need maths 3-4, you need to have done science. I was like, oh God, I'm not smart enough to learn quantum physics, damn. But I think I'm really interested in the sciences and in the environment, so something to do with that. And I probably will end up doing that stuff later anyway.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think I Am Evangeline was underappreciated?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't know it was underappreciated.
Oh, not a lot of people have seen it, and it's very good.
Oh, I'm not sure. I did that a long while ago, and I also was very busy at the time with two other projects, and then I was overseas. I think maybe I actually don't know, but if I'm to guess, maybe a publicity thing. Sometimes really amazing art doesn't get seen because there's no posters on a billboard, or there's no money put into Facebook ads. So
very true.
Possibly that has to do with it. I don't know.
Independent Australian movies, that can happen. They can fall through the cracks, which has been a good thing lately, because a lot of Australian movies have had more of a front line because of COVID and international movies being pushed back, which is good.
So good. And the streaming platforms and being able to make your own content, YouTube, Netflix, all of them, it's decentralized Hollywood. I think that's what it's doing.
It has. Just a couple more questions before we wrap up. Annie Blake, what do you think she'd be up to in a sequel?
She'd probably be taking on, 1,000 projects, probably on Zoom calls to different projects in overseas, as well as her animal shelter project in New Haven. And I imagine she's probably still going strong with her boyfriend, Dylan.
Very good.
God, I haven't really thought about that. Yeah, she's probably just more and more successful.
I think you might be playing the role again, in my opinion. So you might be able to collaborate some more with Tori.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love her.
So In your own words, why should people watch Sit, Stay, Love? Because it is such a great film, and it might get in mixed up in the whole Christmas rush of films. But tell me in your words, as the lead, why people should choose to watch it.
Just for a good old heartwarming laugh. That film is like a heartwarming experience, I think, and it's a really good family movie. I would put it on with your kids or your and your grandparents. I think it's just a lot of fun, and it's
And
not
you might
serious.
have a cry as well.
Yeah, you might have a good old cry. If you need a good old cry, watch this movie or a laugh.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
No, is it?
No.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
Uh,
I just remember that poster.
it's an argument that comes up every year because it's all based on Christmas Eve, the movie.
Oh.
So I thought you might have seen it. You haven't seen Die Hard.
I know. There's a few like pivotal movies I haven't seen. Like I haven't seen The Matrix, and I haven't seen Green Mile. I've got like a list, and I'm gonna tick them off so
You're
that
talking to a movie analyst, a film journalist, and you just named three movies that are incredible that you haven't seen. So
I know.
you'll be watching them for the first time. So that's great, Georgia.
I
I'm
have
gonna.
a list of them that like I kind of missed when everyone was like cool and watching them, and I wasn't allowed to because they were like The Godfather and it was I remember my sister's a couple years older than me and they would all be watching those cool movies and then but yeah I could have caught up to it but I was too busy watching um Friends and
What can you tell me, if you can, about Blacklight? Any information? How was the experience working with Liam Neeson, and what can you tell me about that set?
I don't know that I'm allowed to say anything about that right now because I haven't actually there's been no publicity yet
Sure.
and we've been put on pause about saying anything so I don't know that I can say anything quite yet but when I do let's chat.
I'd like that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that'd be great. Yeah. Because I want to talk about that. Like, let's talk about it.
What about, can you tell me about the experience of working with such a great Hollywood star? Was that fun? Did you learn anything?
Yeah, he's just so down to earth and
Mm.
relaxed and funny, really funny, welcoming, and shook my hand, looked me in the eye, asked me questions about my life, and he was just a ball. And whenever he was on set, everyone was relaxed and laughing, and he's very talented. When he drops into his character and we're rolling, it's something to behold. It's really quite wonderful. So I think when you witness these things from your colleagues, that's the lesson. You take on the work ethic that they role model.
Mm.
Mm.
Well, thank you for the conversation. Good luck with Sit, Stay, Love. I want to see Georgia Flood on a big marquee one day because it is such a striking name. I love it.
Thank you. That's so kind of you. You've